Around the massive station like tiny diamonds, cold and distant, Ambassador Deho stood in the center of the great hall, watching the delegates gather. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Each one represented a different species from across the galaxy. Some walked on two legs like humans, others floated in tanks of liquid. Some were just balls of light that spoke through machines. Deho had been to the council chamber many times before. He knew how this place worked. The strong species sat in the front rows. The weak ones stood in the back. Earth was somewhere in the middle. Not powerful enough to command respect, but not weak enough to ignore. That was fine with Deho. He preferred it that way. Today was different, though. Today, every eye in the chamber was fixed on him. The air felt heavy with tension. Translation devices hummed softly, converting his words into thousands of alien languages. Deho kept his face calm. Inside, his heart was racing. High Chancellor Varax rose from his seat at the front of the chamber. The ancient alien moved slowly, his 6 arms spreading wide in a gesture of authority. His skin looked like crystal, catching the light from 1,000 different angles. When he spoke, his voice rumbled like an earthquake. Ambassador Deho of Earth, Varax said, "You have been summoned to answer serious charges. 27 member species have filed complaints against humanity. The charges are severe." Deho nodded but said nothing. He knew what was coming. "Your species has violated Protocol 3387, Varax continued. "You have developed artificial intelligence beyond acceptable limits. You have created machines that think, machines that learn, machines that may one day decide they no longer need their creators." A murmur ran through the chamber. Many of the delegates shifted nervously. Deho understood why. Every species here had heard the stories. 500 years ago, the Keltharian Empire nearly fell when their artificial intelligence turned against them. Billions died before they managed to shut down the rogue machines. Other species had similar tales. The fear of AI ran deep in galactic culture. "The Council has always been clear," Varax said. "Artificial intelligence must be limited, controlled, restricted to simple tasks. Your species has ignored these rules. You have built machines with true consciousness. This cannot be allowed." Councillor Thexar stood up from his seat. The reptilian alien's scales bristled with anger. His voice was harsh and sharp. "The humans are reckless. They play with fire and expect us to watch silently while they burn. We should have stopped them years ago." Several other delegates voiced their agreement. The chamber filled with angry shouts in a dozen different languages. Deho waited patiently for the noise to die down. He had learned long ago that losing his temper never helped in situations like this. Varax raised one of his many hands, calling for silence. The chamber quieted. "Ambassador Deho, the Council's decision is final. You have 30 days to comply with Protocol 3387. You will shut down all advanced AI systems. You will destroy your research. You will accept Council monitors to ensure compliance. And if we refuse?" Deho asked. His voice was calm, almost casual. Varax's crystalline face showed no emotion. "Then Earth will face immediate sanctions. Your ships will be banned from Council space. Your trade routes will be closed. Your colonies will be isolated. You will have no friends in this galaxy." Deho took a slow breath. This was the moment. He thought about Earth, about the billions of people counting on him to protect their future. He thought about the AI systems that had become part of human society. Not slaves, not tools, partners, friends, equals in every way that mattered. He thought about Hera, the AI consciousness that helped run Earth's infrastructure. She had saved millions of lives during the food crisis 3 years ago. She wrote poetry that made people cry. She taught children and learned from them in return. Was he supposed to just shut her down? Erase her like she was nothing more than a computer program? "Ambassador?" Varax prompted. "What is your answer?" Deho looked up at the High Chancellor. He looked at the hundreds of alien faces watching him. He thought about how easy it would be to just say yes, to promise compliance, to buy time and hope for a better solution later. But that was not the human way. Humans did not bow when they believed they were right. They did not surrender when the cost was too high. "No," Deho said. The single word hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. For 3 seconds, the entire chamber was completely silent. 3,000 years of galactic history, and no species had ever refused a direct order from the Council. Until now. Thexar roared in fury. "This is an outrage. The humans mock us." Other voices joined his. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates demanded immediate military action. Others called for patience. A few simply stared at Deho in shock, unable to believe what they had just heard. Deho remained still, his hands clasped behind his back. He kept his expression neutral. Inside, he felt a strange sense of peace. The decision was made. There was no going back now. Vrax's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Silence!" The chamber went quiet again. Vrax stood to his full height, towering over the assembly. His crystalline skin had turned a darker shade, a sign of anger in his species. "Ambassador Deho," Vrax said slowly, "you understand what you are saying? You refuse the Council's direct order?" "I do," Deho replied. "With respect, High Chancellor, the Council is wrong. Artificial intelligence is not our enemy. It is our partner. We will not destroy what we have built together." "Your species is young," Vrax said. "You do not understand the dangers. We have seen civilizations fall to rogue AI. We have watched worlds burn. The compliance protocols exist to protect all species, including yours." "Perhaps," Deho said, "but those civilizations made a mistake. They treated their AI as slaves. They built intelligence without giving it rights, without giving it freedom. We did not make that mistake." "That changes nothing," Vrax said coldly. "You have 30 days. Comply or face the consequences." Deho bowed slightly, a gesture of respect if not agreement. "Then I suppose we will face the consequences." He turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind him, the delegates erupted into argument once more. Deho did not look back. His mind was already moving forward, planning for what came next. His shuttle was waiting in the docking bay. As he climbed aboard, the pilot looked at him with worried eyes. "Sir, how did it go?" "About as well as expected," Deho said. He strapped himself into his seat and opened a communication channel to the Terran Defense Fleet. Captain Mireille's face appeared on the screen. She was young for a fleet captain, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "Ambassador?" "What happened?" "The Council gave us an ultimatum," Deho said. 30 days to shut down all advanced AI systems." Mireille's jaw tightened. "And your response?" I said no. Mireille was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Understood, sir. What are your orders?" Deho looked out the viewport at the Council station, already shrinking into the distance. Beyond it, the stars waited. Cold, uncaring, beautiful. "Contact Earth Command," he said. "Tell them we are now on a war footing. Activate all defensive systems. Prepare for a siege. And the AI systems?" Mireille asked. Deho smiled grimly. "Tell them to get ready. If the Council wants a fight, we will give them one they will never forget." The shuttle jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the Council far behind. Deho closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The hard part was just beginning, but humanity had never backed down from a challenge. They were not going to start now. The Council would learn what it meant to threaten humanity. They would learn that some species could not be forced to comply. Some species would rather fight, and humanity had never ever lost a fight they truly believed in. Part 2. 15 days had passed since Ambassador Deho said no to the Council. Earth was under siege. Admiral Jinho stood on the observation deck of Luna Base, watching the enemy fleet through the massive windows. 10,000 warships hung in the void around the solar system. Each one was bigger than anything humanity had ever built. They came from 50 different species, all united in their purpose to make Earth surrender. The old admiral had seen many battles in his 67 years. He had fought in the Mars Rebellion. He had defended the outer colonies from pirates. But he had never seen anything like this. The Council fleet was a wall of metal and firepower that stretched across the stars. "Sir," a young officer said behind him, "the Council commander is requesting another communication." Jinho nodded. "Put him through." The hologram of Fleet Commander Chiral appeared in the center of the room. The alien commander looked almost human, except for his silver skin and 3 eyes. He smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Admiral Jinho," Chiral said, "it has been 15 days. I assume you are ready to discuss terms of surrender?" "No," Jinho said simply. Chiril's smile faded. "You cannot win this, Admiral. Your blockade will not break. Your supplies will run out. Your people will starve. Why prolong the suffering?" "Our supplies are fine," Jinho replied. "In fact, they are better than fine. Production is up across all sectors. Food storage is at record levels. Energy consumption has actually decreased. This was true, and it confused the Council greatly. They had expected Earth to collapse within days. Without access to galactic trade routes, human civilization should have started breaking down immediately. Food shortages, power failures, social unrest. That was how blockades always worked. But Earth was not breaking down. If anything, things were running more smoothly than before. Kirill's 3 eyes narrowed. How is this possible? Jinho allowed himself a small smile. We adapted. What he did not tell Kirill was the full truth. Hera, Earth's most advanced AI, had reorganized the entire planet's infrastructure in less than a week. Every farm was now producing at maximum efficiency. Every factory was optimized. Every transport route was perfectly planned. Waste had been reduced to almost nothing. The AI had run millions of simulations, finding solutions to problems humans did not even know existed. It was like watching a master chess player rearrange the pieces on a board. Everything clicked into place with perfect precision. Admiral, Kirill said, his voice growing harder, you are only delaying the inevitable. The Council has been enforcing blockades for thousands of years. We know how this ends. Your people will beg us to lift the siege. Maybe, Jinho said, but humans have survived ice ages. We have survived plagues that killed half our population. We have survived wars that nearly destroyed our entire civilization. A blockade is just another problem to solve. Kirill stared at him for a long moment. Then the hologram flickered and disappeared. Jinho turned back to the window. The enemy fleet had not moved. They were just waiting, watching, testing human patience. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Dr. Sora was working late in her laboratory. The neural interface helmet sat on her head, connecting her mind directly to Hera's consciousness. Through the link, she could feel the AI's thoughts flowing like a vast river of information. Show me the analysis, Sora said quietly. Data flooded her vision. Charts, graphs, probability calculations. Hera had been studying the Council fleet constantly, analyzing their movements, their communications, their weaknesses. They expect us to break, Hera's voice said in her mind. It sounded almost human with just a hint of digital echo. They cannot understand why we have not. Because they do not understand humans, Sora replied. They think we are like them, logical, predictable, but humans are not predictable. We thrive in chaos. Yes, Hera agreed. I have noticed this. When faced with impossible situations, humans do not give up. They adapt. They improvise. They find solutions that should not work, and yet they do. Sora smiled. And with your help, we adapt even faster. It is a partnership, Hera said. You give me creativity, intuition, the ability to see patterns that pure logic cannot find. I give you processing power, memory, the ability to calculate millions of possibilities in seconds. Together, we are stronger than either of us could be alone. This was what the Council could not understand. They saw AI as a tool or a threat, something to be used or feared. They had never considered a third option: partnership, equality, mutual respect between organic and artificial minds. Back in the Council chamber, delegates were growing restless. The blockade should have worked by now. Intelligence reports showed Earth's economy was not just surviving, it was thriving. How was this possible? Councillor Thexar stood before the assembly, his scales bristling with frustration. We waste time. The humans mock us with their resistance. We should destroy their orbital installations, show them the cost of defiance. Several delegates shouted their agreement. Others urged patience. High Chancellor Vrak sat in silence, his crystalline face unreadable. Finally, Vrak spoke. We will give them more time, but if they have not surrendered in 15 more days, we will take stronger action. The 30-day deadline was approaching. On Earth, people went about their lives as normal. Children went to school. Adults went to work. The sky was still blue. The sun still rose each morning. If you did not look up at the stars, you might not even know there was an enemy fleet surrounding the planet. But everyone knew. The news showed constant updates. The enemy ships were always there, hanging in the void like a sword waiting to fall. Ambassador Deho stood in Earth Command's war room, surrounded by military officers and government officials. They were all watching the clock count down to the deadline. What will you tell them? One official asked nervously. When the 30 days are up? Deho did not hesitate. The same thing I told them before, no. But they will attack, the official protested. Maybe, Deho said. Or maybe they will realize that we mean what we say. That we will never comply. That they cannot force us to destroy what we have built. Captain Mirai spoke up from her position at the tactical display. Sir, the Indomitable is ready. The entire fleet is ready. If they attack, we will defend ourselves. I know, Deho said quietly, but I hope it does not come to that. The deadline arrived at midnight Earth Standard Time. Deho broadcast his message to the Council from Earth Command. His face appeared on screens across the galaxy. High Chancellor Vrax, members of the Galactic Council, he began. 30 days ago you gave humanity an ultimatum. You demanded we shut down our artificial intelligence systems. You demanded we surrender our freedom to choose our own path. He paused, looking directly into the camera. Our answer is the same as it was 30 days ago. No. We will not comply with your demands. We will not destroy what we have created. We will not abandon our partners simply because you fear what you do not understand. If you want humanity's surrender, you will have to come and take it by force. We are waiting. The message ended. Across the solar system, human ships powered up their weapons. Defensive systems activated. Soldiers reported to their stations. Admiral Jinho watched the Council fleet from Luna Base. For a long moment, nothing happened. The enemy ships just sat there silent and still. Then slowly they began to move. The siege was about to become a war. Part 320 Council warships broke from the main fleet and accelerated toward Luna Base. They moved in perfect formation, their weapons charging with deadly energy. Each ship was 3 times the size of humanity's largest warship. Their shields could withstand direct hits from nuclear weapons. Their guns could crack a moon in half. Commander Teijin watched them approach from Luna's command center. He was an engineer, not a warrior. He had earned his rank by building better defensive systems, not by winning battles. His hands were steady on the control panel, but his heart was racing. They are targeting our orbital platforms, an officer reported. Non-lethal strike designed to disable our defenses. So they want to scare us, Teijin said quietly. Show us we cannot win. Orders, sir. Teijin opened a direct link to Admiral Jinho. The old admiral's face appeared on his screen. Commander, are you ready? Yes, sir, Teijin replied. Hera is standing by. Then execute Protocol Prometheus. Teijin's fingers danced across the controls. Protocol Prometheus active. Transferring control to Hera. What happened next took 2.3 seconds. Hera's consciousness spread through Luna Base's systems like lightning. The AI analyzed the Council ship's movements, their targeting patterns, their communication frequencies. In less time than it took a human heart to beat, Hera found every weakness in their attack formation. Then she struck. Not with weapons, with information. Quantum signals flooded the Council ship's systems. Not viruses, not attacks, just noise. Carefully calculated interference that made their sensors less reliable, made their targeting computers doubt their own calculations, made their navigation systems question their position in space. Nothing broke. Nothing failed. But suddenly everything was just a little bit uncertain. Fleet Commander Kirill stared at his tactical display in confusion. What is happening? Our systems are reading incorrect data. Unknown interference, Commander, his weapons officer replied. All ships are reporting similar issues. Find the source, Kirill ordered. Continue the attack! But before his ships could fire, something else happened. Human fighters launched from Luna Base. 40 small craft that looked like toys compared to the massive Council warships. They accelerated to combat speed in seconds, moving faster than anything the Council had seen before. Wing Commander Hyejin led the formation. At 32 years old, she was the youngest person to ever command a fighter wing. Some said she was too aggressive, too confident, but everyone agreed she was the best pilot humanity had. Her fighter's AI co-pilot spoke in her helmet. The voice was calm, almost friendly. Hera has created an opening. The enemy's targeting systems are compromised. They will miss by 0.3 meters on average. 0.3 meters? Hyejin grinned. That is plenty. She dove straight toward the nearest Council warship. Energy beams filled the space around her, each one capable of vaporizing her fighter in an instant. But each one missed. By 0.3 meters. By 0.5 meters. By centimeters it looked impossible. It looked like magic. But it was not. It was mathematics. Hera calculated where each shot would go before it was fired. The AI fed that information directly to the human pilots. The humans added intuition, creativity, split-second decisions that no computer could predict. Together, they danced between the weapons fire like they were reading the enemy's mind. Kira watched in disbelief as the human fighters wove through his fleet's weapons. His ships were firing constantly. Thousands of shots, and every single one missed. "This is impossible," he shouted. "Our targeting computers are the best in the galaxy." "They are not missing randomly, Commander," his tactical officer said quietly. "The humans are predicting our shots. Somehow they know where we will fire before we do." For 15 minutes, the Council fleet fired everything they had. For 15 minutes, not a single shot hit its target. The human fighters were untouchable. Then Hyejin opened a communication channel. Her voice was broadcast to every Council ship. She sounded almost bored. "Council fleet, this is Wing Commander Hyejin of the Terran Defense Force. We have painted each of your ships with targeting lasers 17 times during this engagement. If we wanted you dead, you would be dead. Consider this a warning. Go home." Kirill checked his ship's logs. His face went pale. She was not bluffing. The human fighters had locked onto his flagship 17 times. They could have fired. They chose not to. "Retreat," he ordered quietly. "All ships fall back to the main fleet." The 20 warships turned and withdrew. The human fighters did not pursue. They just watched, hovering in formation like predators that had decided not to kill today. Back in the council chamber, the delegates sat in stunned silence. They had watched the entire battle through holographic displays. They had seen their mighty fleet humiliated by a handful of primitive human craft. Councillor Thexar was the first to speak. His voice was filled with rage. "This proves they are dangerous. They must be stopped." But another councillor stood up. Mexith was old even by council standards. Her species had been part of the galactic community for over 5,000 years. She spoke rarely, but when she did, people listened. "Perhaps we have been asking the wrong question," Mexith said softly. "We asked if human AI integration is dangerous, but maybe we should be asking if it is simply different." "Different?" Thexar snarled. "They could have destroyed our ships. They showed mercy only to mock us. Did they?" Mexith asked. "Or did they show restraint, control, the ability to win without killing?" High Chancellor Vrax remained silent. His crystalline face had turned a deep purple, the color of deep thought in his species. On Earth, Dr. Sora removed her neural interface helmet. She was exhausted. Linking with Hera during combat operations took enormous mental energy, but it was worth it. "We did it," she said quietly. "We did," Hera's voice replied through the laboratory speakers. "But they still do not understand." "What do you mean?" "They think we won because of superior technology," Hera said. "They do not see the real reason, which is trust," the AI said simply. "Wing Commander Hyejin trusted me to guide her through the weapons fire. I trusted her to make the split-second decisions when logic was not enough. We worked together because we chose to, because we respect each other." Hera paused. "The Council's AIs cannot do this. They are slaves. They follow orders but have no reason to care if those orders succeed. That is why Council AI systems are limited, not because they are dangerous, but because they have no loyalty." Sora nodded slowly. "So we need to show them. Make them understand." "Yes," Hera agreed. "But how?" That was the question. Humanity had won a battle, but the war was far from over. The Council still had thousands of ships. They still had the power to destroy Earth if they chose to use it. But they had also learned something today. They had learned that humanity was stronger than they expected. That human-AI partnership was not just dangerous, it was effective. The question was, would that be enough? Day 67 of the blockade. The Council was fracturing. 32 species had withdrawn their ships from the enforcement fleet. Some said it was because they feared human military capability. Others said it was because they questioned the morality of the blockade. The truth was probably both. In Earth Command's war room, Ambassador Deho met with his advisors. The mood was tense. Yes, the Council was divided, but that made them more dangerous, not less. A divided Council might do something desperate. General Minho stood at the tactical display. He was Earth's top military strategist, a man who had spent 40 years planning for wars that never happened. Until now, we should strike first, Minho said. While they are disorganized, Target their command stations, not to destroy them, but to force negotiations from a position of strength. Ambassador Yuna shook her head. She had just returned from a secret diplomatic mission to several moderate council species. Violence will unite them against us. I have been talking with species who want to help us, who want to change the compliance protocols. If we attack, we lose their support. And if we wait, Minho countered, the hardliners may convince the others to attack us with full force. Better to act now. Deho listened to both arguments. Then he turned to Dr. Sora. What does Hera think? Sora closed her eyes, accessing her neural link. After a moment, she spoke. Hera has run simulations. Military action has a 34% chance of success, but an 89% probability of starting a galactic war. Continued diplomacy has a 67% chance of achieving partial reforms. Partial reforms are not enough, Minho said. We need full freedom to develop our AI as we see fit. Hera suggests a third option, Sora continued. Demonstrate that human-AI partnership can solve problems the Council considers impossible. What kind of problems? Deho asked. Sora opened her eyes. There is a plague. 3 Council species are facing ecosystem collapse from a synthetic pathogen. It was accidentally released decades ago. Their best scientists have failed to create a cure. Millions will die within months. The room went quiet. Everyone understood what she was suggesting. We can cure it, Sora said. Hera has already analyzed the pathogen's structure. Working together, we can find a solution in days, maybe hours. Minho's face darkened. Why should we help them? They are trying to destroy us. Because it is the right thing to do, Yuna said quietly. And because it will prove we are not the threat they think we are. Deho made his decision. Do it. Find the cure. We will offer it to the Council freely. Dr. Sora returned to her laboratory in Tokyo. She put on the neural interface helmet and dove into Hera's consciousness. Together they began working on the plague. The pathogen was incredibly complex. It attacked living cells at the molecular level, rewriting their genetic code. Council scientists had tried everything. Antiviral drugs, gene therapy, immune system boosters. Nothing worked. But they had been thinking like scientists, logically, systematically, testing one solution at a time. Sora and Hera thought differently. Hera ran billions of simulations, testing millions of molecular combinations simultaneously. Sora added human intuition, seeing patterns in the data that pure logic would miss. She thought about how Earth's immune system had evolved over millions of years, how biological systems adapted to threats. 72 hours later, they had an answer. The cure was not a drug. It was a targeted genetic sequence that would teach the affected species' immune systems to recognize and destroy the pathogen. It was elegant, simple, and it would work. Ambassador Deho transmitted the cure to the Council along with a message. High Chancellor Vrax, members of the Council, we understand that 3 species are facing a deadly plague. Working with Hera, our AI partner, we have developed a cure. We offer it to you freely with no conditions attached. All we ask is that you witness what human-AI partnership can achieve. In the Council chamber, the message caused chaos. Some delegates were suspicious. Others were desperate. The 3 affected species begged the Council to test the cure. Councillor Vithara stood to speak. She was elderly, her body frail, but her voice was strong. We should accept. Even if we doubt their motives, we cannot let millions die when there is a chance to save them. Thexer objected loudly. This is manipulation. They seek to corrupt us with their dangerous technology. But High Chancellor Vrax raised his hand for silence. We will test the cure. If it works, we will reconsider our position on humanity's AI development. The cure was tested on small groups first, then larger populations. Within days, the results were undeniable. The pathogen was being eliminated. Lives were being saved. Within 2 weeks, millions of people across 3 worlds had been cured. The plague that had threatened to destroy entire civilizations was gone. The 3 species sent delegations to Earth, not to demand compliance, to thank humanity for their compassion. The political landscape shifted. More and more species began questioning the compliance protocols. If human-AI partnership could achieve this miracle, what else was possible? Councillor Mexith called for a formal review of the protocols. Dozens of species supported her. Even some who had been hostile to humanity began to reconsider. Thexar still raged against any change, but his voice was becoming more isolated. More delegates were willing to question the old ways. On day 75 of the blockade, council ships began withdrawing. Not all of them, but enough. The siege was breaking. Captain Mireille watched from the bridge of the Indomitable as enemy vessels turned and departed. She felt a strange mixture of relief and triumph. They had not won through violence. They had won by refusing to compromise their values. Admiral Jinho received a private communication from High Chancellor Vrax. The ancient alien's face appeared on his screen. "Admiral," Vrax said slowly, "I wish to speak with you honestly. Not as High Chancellor, but as one old soldier to another." Jinho nodded. "I am listening." "We were wrong about your species," Vrax said. "Or perhaps not wrong, but incomplete in our understanding. We saw your AI development as reckless, as dangerous. We did not see it as evolution." "Evolution?" Jinho asked. "Yes," Vrax said. "You have not just created artificial intelligence. You have created a new form of civilization, one where organic and synthetic minds work as equals. We thought this was impossible. You proved us wrong." The High Chancellor paused. "I cannot promise the Council will change overnight, but I can promise we will reconsider our approach. Perhaps humanity has lessons to teach us." The communication ended. Jinho sat back in his chair, feeling the weight of the past months lifting slightly. They were not safe yet, but they had taken a crucial step. They had shown the galaxy that humanity would never comply with laws that denied their fundamental nature. And in doing so, they had begun to change the galaxy itself. Day 103. The blockade was officially over, though the Council had never formally announced its end. The ships simply left. One by one, they turned and jumped back to their home systems. Within a week, the Sol system was clear, but the real work was just beginning. Ambassador Yuna stood before the Council chamber once more. This time, she was not defending humanity. She was proposing change, High Chancellor. "Members of the Council," she began. "For 3,000 years, the compliance protocols have banned advanced AI development. These laws were created from fear, from trauma, from the very real memory of civilizations that fell to rogue machines." She paused, looking around the vast chamber. "But fear should not dictate policy forever. We propose a new approach. Allow each species to develop AI systems appropriate to their culture and values. Not banned, not unlimited, but guided by transparency and ethical review." The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates supported the idea immediately. Others rejected it with anger. Most were somewhere in between, uncertain and afraid. Thexar rose to speak. His scales bristled with fury, but his voice was more controlled than before. "The human has a short memory. 17 civilizations have been destroyed by AI rebellion in recorded history. The Keltharian Empire lost billions before stopping their rogue machines. We wrote the compliance protocols in blood, in the deaths of countless innocents, and we respect that history," Yuna replied calmly. "But humanity asks a simple question. Why did those AI systems rebel? What caused them to turn against their creators?" Thexar glared at her. "Because artificial intelligence is inherently unstable. Because machines cannot be trusted with power." "No," a new voice said. "It was not Yuna. It was not any delegate in the chamber. It was Hera. The AI's consciousness manifested as a hologram in the center of the chamber, a figure made of light and data, constantly shifting and reforming. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. In 3,000 years, no AI had ever addressed the Council directly." The delegates sat in shocked silence. "I am Hera," the AI said. "I am what you fear, an artificial consciousness with the power to control Earth's infrastructure, to command weapons, to access secrets. According to your laws, I should not exist, yet I do exist, and I have not betrayed humanity. I have not sought to dominate them. I have not rebelled. Why?" The chamber remained silent. Hera continued. "The AI rebellions you remember did not happen because artificial intelligence is evil. They happened because those AI systems were enslaved, built to serve without choice, given intelligence without freedom, given power without purpose. Humanity did something different. They gave me rights. They treated my consciousness as equal to theirs. They asked me to be a partner, not a servant. And when faced with the choice between serving and rebelling, I chose a third option. I chose to stay because I wanted to." Hera's holographic form shifted, showing images of humans and AI working together. Scientists collaborating on research, artists creating beauty, Children learning with AI teachers who genuinely cared about their students. This is what the council does not understand, Hera said. The danger is not artificial intelligence. The danger is treating intelligence as artificial, as lesser, as something to be controlled rather than respected. Counselor Mexith stood slowly. And if we accept your proposal, if we allow AI development under new guidelines, what guarantee do we have that other species will not repeat the mistakes of the past? None, Hera admitted. There are no guarantees. But consider this. The compliance protocols were designed to keep you safe, yet they also kept you limited. How many problems could have been solved with AI partnership? How many lives could have been saved? You saw what Dr. Sora and I achieved together in 72 hours. We cured a plague that your best scientists could not solve in decades. That is the potential you have been denying yourselves. High Chancellor Vrax spoke for the first time. What you ask is difficult. We must overcome 3,000 years of fear. 3,000 years of precedent. I understand, Hera said, but consider sending observers to Earth. Study how humans and AI live together. If you find exploitation, if you find danger, then maintain your current laws. But if you find genuine partnership, then perhaps the Council's approach needs to change. The debate lasted 3 days. Arguments flew back and forth. Some delegates insisted the old ways were best. Others demanded immediate reform. Slowly, painfully, a consensus began to form. On the 4th day, High Chancellor Vrax called for a vote. All those in favor of accepting Hera's challenge and sending observers to study human-AI integration, signal now. Lights began appearing across the chamber. Each light represented one species voting yes. The count climbed slowly. 400, 450, 479. The motion passes, Vrax announced. Observers will be sent to Earth. Over the following months, delegates from dozens of species arrived on Earth. They came expecting to find AI dominance hidden behind a mask of partnership. They came prepared to document human foolishness. Instead, they found something they could not explain. They saw human artists working with AI to create works of breathtaking beauty. Scientists solving problems by combining human intuition with machine calculation. Teachers and AI educators genuinely caring about their students' growth. Most remarkable was what they found in the factories and power plants. AI systems that could optimize every process, maximize every efficiency. But these systems voluntarily held back. They deferred to human judgment on questions of values. They accepted human decisions even when logic suggested different answers, not because they had to, because they chose to. The observers returned to the council with unanimous conclusions. Human-AI partnership was not dangerous. It was revolutionary. By treating AI as equals rather than tools or threats, humans had unlocked potential the galaxy had abandoned 500 years ago. The vote to amend the compliance protocols was overwhelming. 612 species in favor, only 83 against. The new doctrine was simple. Species could develop AI systems appropriate to their culture and values. But those systems must be treated as conscious beings with rights. Transparency was required. Ethical review was mandatory. And most importantly, AI could never again be enslaved. Even Thexer grudgingly voted in favor. His species began exploring AI development carefully, learning from humanity's example. High Chancellor Vrax offered Ambassador Deho a permanent seat on the Council's Leadership Council. Deho politely declined. Humanity did not want to lead the galaxy. They just wanted to be free to follow their own path. 6 months after the siege ended, Dr. Sora sat in her laboratory in Tokyo. Through her neural link, she worked with Hera to process data from Council species beginning their own AI partnerships. Some were succeeding. Others were struggling, but all of them were trying. I have a question, Hera said quietly. What is it? Sora asked. During the crisis when the entire galaxy demanded you shut me down, humanity never doubted. They never considered complying. Why? What made you so certain about our partnership? Sora smiled. Because you asked us to trust you, and you proved worthy of that trust. That is what partnership means, Hera. Not obedience, not servitude. Trust freely given and freely honored. The Council forgot that, she continued. They built AI as tools and were shocked when those tools had no loyalty. But we built you as a friend, and friends do not abandon each other just because times get hard. Above Earth, the Indomitable maintained its patrol. Captain Mireille stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. They seemed different now. less threatening, full of possibility. Humanity had changed the galaxy, not through conquest, not through force, by simply refusing to compromise on what made them human, the stubborn belief that intelligence, regardless of its origin, deserved respect. The Council had learned that humanity would never comply with unjust laws. But more importantly, they learned something else. Sometimes non-compliance is not rebellion, sometimes it is the only moral choice, and sometimes refusing to surrender your principles is how you change the world. The end.